Sometimes I feel so awkward starting podcasts. I'm like, how do I start this? Should I tell a joke? Should I do some deep breathing? I tried to start this podcast like 3 times and then I was like, screw it. I'm just going to press record and see what comes out of my mouth. You know what? I find, honestly, actually, this makes a lot of sense. I find starting things like the hardest part of doing any big thing, And then once we get started, we get flowing, we get grooving, the words come to us, we find our flow, we follow the energy, we keep it going. But starting is always the hardest part. Anyway, lesson of the day brought to you by me trying to start this podcast 5 times and pressing re-record 5 times. What's up and welcome back to the Sam Skelly Show. I'm sitting here drinking I'm calling it baby milk, but it's basically just hot water and half and half cream, which I know sounds disgusting, but just try it on for size. Here, I'll let you listen. So good. I don't know what got me on this, but it's amazing. I think it makes me feel like I'm a kid again when your mom used to make hot milk, except my mom is not here to make it. I have to do it all by myself like an adult. But anyways, if anyone is interested in trying my concoction, that's definitely not original, but absolutely delicious. Let me know on Instagram. Show me a photo of you drinking some baby milk. Oh, Lordy. All right, y'all. It's that time of the year. It's the time of the year where we are coming to the end. Almost coming to the end. We've got about a month left of enrollment, the one enrollment period that we do per year for the Hungry for Happiness Life and Wellness Coaching Certification. It's one of my favorite times of the year, honestly, meeting people that are so committed to not only their transformation and growth, but so committed to being that for other people. Life coaching is not a job. It's like a soul curriculum, It's a soul curriculum. I know when I am in the seat of serving and helping, whether that's on a podcast, whether that's on stage, one-to-one, in group programs, whatever it is, there's something that awakens within me. There's this aliveness that comes to be and this inner intelligence that it's like, wow, you are meant to do this. And you have done this in past lives. You've done this before. That desire is just so pure. And that's what this episode is all about, is discovering your desires and activating your ambitions. But before we get into today's content, Before we dive in, I want you to tap into that deep part of you, that seat of desire, the part of you that wants to expand, evolve, grow into the next version of you. And if that next version of you is placing yourself in a powerful position where you get to wake up every single day, helping people, guiding people to their truth, and becoming a force for good, for light, for expansion and transformation, I invite you to apply for the Hungry for Happiness Life and Wellness Coaching Certification, which is my 10-month journey to transform you into a masterful coach. Once you have your training, you can enter in niches like anxiety coach, food freedom coach, emotional eating coach, anxiety coach, grief coach. The niches are absolutely multifaceted. There's so much variety in the niches that you want to move into. And oftentimes the niche that you move into is something that you have struggled with in the past. I became an emotional eating coach because I struggled with emotional eating and body image issues. And throughout the certification program, And through the certification program, we will teach you not only how to become a masterful coach and create transformations for people, we will teach you the fundamentals of how to actually build a successful and profitable business in the coaching space. So if this sounds like you, head on over to www.hungryforhappiness.com/certification, and we'll see you inside. All right, let's dive right in. Welcome back to, hang on, let me try that again. Discovering your desires and activating your ambitions. I have such a connected relationship to my desires now. It wasn't always the case. I can remember earlier in my life where I would have a desire, this pull into something, this feeling that there was something I wanted to step into, move into. And I can remember the inner conflict because my body was guiding me, pulling me forward. And my mind would then hijack and say, it's not time for that. You don't have enough money for that. You're not good enough. Whatever it is, whatever the narrative of the mind is, it would come in and just shift that desire. And so for the early part of my life, I allowed my mind to hijack my desires and do the thing I should do or do the rational thing. And what I'm realizing now is there's a messiness within desire and there's a chaos that cannot be rationalized. And so many of the things that I deeply desire in my life don't make rational sense. But then when I follow the energy of that desire, it always leads me to a greater opening and awakening and ultimately feeling more aligned with my higher self, with who I am meant to be, who I am in this world. So I want you to take a moment as you're listening to the show. And I want you to give yourself permission to just dream. If you're not driving, you can close your eyes as you're listening to the podcast. Take a few deep breaths in. And deep breath in. And I want you to choose something that you absolutely 100% desire. It would feel so good, so nourishing, so inviting to step into that thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe it's a divine relationship that you've been craving. Maybe it's traveling or exploring something. Maybe it's making a certain amount of money. Maybe it's living in a certain place. Maybe it's driving a certain car. Maybe it's materialistic or maybe it's not. Maybe the desire is just, I want to feel calm and peaceful every single morning when I wake up, when my eyes open. I want to feel that felt sense of just, that exhale. I no longer want to feel that tension and anxiety. I want you to choose, what is that thing for you? What is that desire? And I want you to claim it in the I am. I am calm. I am abundant. I have the dream home that I've always wanted. Whatever the intention and the desire is, I want you to powerfully claim it through I want you to powerfully claim it through the I am statement, giving yourself complete permission to dream, complete permission to know that whatever you desire, you deserve. Whatever you desire, you deserve. This was a concept that was really challenging for me back in the day. And it now comes much more easily, but it doesn't mean that there's not those thoughts in my mind that are like, are you sure, Sam? Like, do you really want to go that big? Do you really want to dream that far? And what I've learned about those thoughts is I can just observe them. So maybe there's those thoughts in your mind right now where you cast your vision, your intention on the thing you desire, the very thing that is so close to your heart. And then there's that small part of you that questions the narrative, that questions the claiming, that questions whether or not you are worthy. And that part of you is only trying to keep you safe. That part of you is trying to keep you protected. It doesn't realize that you have everything it takes to be able to step into that powerful dream, that powerful desire. Let the energy guide. One of my favorite, hang on one second. A priority that I have every single day is, how do I feel my best today? How do I feel my best today? Because I know when I'm feeling my best, when my energy is high and activated, I have more courage, more confidence to go after the things I desire. When I am feeling lethargic, anxious, depleted, stressed out, whatever, I question if I am worth it. I question if I can do it. I question if I have the resources, the ability. And then in those quiet spots, in those quiet moments where my energy's resourced, my mind is clear, I'm so connected to my heart, there's a soft whisper that says, of course you fucking can. My soft whisper swears because, she's a little crazy. But maybe your soft whisper is more gentle than mine. It's in those moments of quiet, calm, connected consciousness that we hear the truth. But when we are spinning out in a reactive state, riddled with anxiety and a fuzzy, cloudy mind, it is hard for us to navigate and let the energy guide. Let it feel open. Let it feel expanded. Let it have this tickly, prickly essence to it. That's when you know you're on it. That's when you know. When I am deciding my next move, whether it's a business move, whether it's a move with my relationship, my family, my friends, my career, whatever it is, I just feel for that tickly, prickly, excited feeling. Makes me laugh even just naming that energy, because it really is like a giddiness. There's a giddiness to it. And I pay attention. I pay attention to that energy, because that energy has so much intelligence, more so than my logical, rational mind, way more. Just took a sip of my baby milk again. You can take that part out. There is such a profound intelligence in the desires that we have in our body. You have this internal GPS, this guidance system that is so readily available in every single moment to guide you into the next pocket of energy, the next move, the next chapter. It is all there for the taking. There is this beautiful activation that happens. Now the question is, are you going to follow that desire? Or are you going to feel it and let the mind hijack? I often ask my clients, if all of your decisions came from intuition and desire, what would life look like for you? If we were not ruled by fear, by limitation, by suppression, and we only followed the exhale essence. And what I mean by that is, that feeling of that feels so good. Whatever that is. What if we followed the cues of that energy? What if we were more attuned to that intelligence than the intelligence that we see on social media or the freaking news, which is not intelligent whatsoever, but the intelligence of the external world? What if we followed that inner intelligence, that feeling? And here's the belief I needed to break in order to get there. For it to be good, it had to be hard. For it to be good, it had to be hard. And that's how I ruled my life for the, better portion of the last decade. So I made business hard. If it's going to be good, it's got to be hard. I made relationships hard. I made money hard. I made things that should be effortless and easy and fun. I made them hard because my story was, if it's going to be good, it's got to be hard. Making money has to be hard, but then it's going to be good. And there's this promised land that never comes, by the way. There's this promised land that if we work really hard and we're really good and we people please and we climb the ladder and we do the things, then maybe one day we'll be blessed with this promised land, whatever that friggin' looks like. And I don't know about you, but I've never been there. to that promised land, but I know I can create it, not through my doingness, but through my beingness, through following the energy, living in the pockets of stillness, living in the presence, being a servant leader to my own body, prioritizing the exhale feeling. And when we do that, when we prioritize feeling good above all else, we begin to activate our life force. We begin to activate that part of us that is streaming energy through our body from life force, God, universe, whatever you choose to believe and what you call it, through our body. We activate that life force. I don't know how many of you read my post on God trauma from last week, but I was talking about how I thought that this life force was I could only access it through the church, through the religion that I was a part of. And then I realized, wait a second, no. This life force is within all things, and it lives just as much outside of us as it does inside the church. It is everywhere, within everything, within the intrinsic, I can't say that word, within the intrinsic, I'm not going to say it. It is readily available in all things, nature, in the exhale, within connection. There is this life force, this Christ consciousness that flows through everything, and we can tap into it when we are connected to it within ourselves. I'm just going to let that one settle for a second. The more we connect to that life force, to that intelligence that is within us, the more that we see it, the more it comes alive outside of us. We see it within the trees and the textures, in the rivers, in the smiles of strangers. We can feel it in the invisible nature of just the flow of life. All of the unseen energetic connection between us and all things. It's there. We just can't always see it with the naked eye. So letting yourself settle into that and asking yourself right now, as you're listening to this podcast, what does it take for me to say, and as you're listening to this podcast, asking yourself, have I given myself full permission to dream? Have I given myself full permission to discover my desires, to activate what I am here to do? There's a preciousness in that. We all came here for a very specific reason. And sometimes we have gotten off path, followed all of our shoulds, and have now ended up in a place that doesn't serve and that we don't love. So how can we reclaim that part of us? How can we reclaim our soul's purpose, our dharma, our vision, our intention, little by little? And I know that may feel a little bit untethering if you've been someone who's followed and I know that might feel untethering, especially for someone who has followed what they should do day after day after day. But I can promise you, starting small, even following the little micro desires in your body, just honoring the yes, honoring the exhale feeling, honoring the lightness, the pull forward. On such a small scale, it's a beautiful place to start. It's a beautiful place to start. And again, if that life force, actually, I'm going to finish in a different way. All right, let's just take a breath. That was a lot. Giving yourself permission to follow your desires, to dream, to let the energy flow is the greatest gift you can possibly give yourself. And remember, your vibration is your contribution every single day in every single way. So how can you contribute to your vibration so that you can be that gift to the world, so that you can be that light? The world needs more of that, and we can turn that on within ourselves, within our souls. The question is, will you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. I love this community. If this podcast was useful for you, I would love it if you would share it with someone. Drop us a little 5-star rating on iTunes. That really helps us spread the message and get the show out there. Have a beautiful day, and we'll catch you next week. Bye for now.